So I was like, all right, she just validated how I felt about this. So I stepped in there and I'm shooting and I've got my camera up and I feel like this hand grab my elbow and it caught me off guard. I was like, holy crap, what the hell, and I feeling around, seeing if I bumped this pipe, but looking at the DVR camera, I didn't. And I went and kind of pushed my elbow against it, but it didn't feel the same. I specifically felt the fingers grabbing my arm, so it was weird.
We have another question in chat. It's from Carl from Caldwell County Paranormal. And
how does John's 12-volt lights, his work lights, I'm guessing that's what he's talking about, work with the DVR cameras outside? We actually haven't used the DVR cameras outside with that. We've actually used my my Canon camera. If you watch like the on our haunting history channel, if you watch the Civil War cemetery, we lit up the cemetery with just one of the lights and using my camera. Indoors, the Farrar Schoolhouse, the gymnasium, there's a shot where you see how well it lights up with the DVR cameras indoors. So you can see it there. Trying to think where else we used it that was wide open like that. There was another one we did. Oh yeah, the 1859 church. That was with my Canon handheld camera.
The 1904 church or the 1859 Garnett House?
The church, the 1904 church. I always do that.
Well, we want to make sure we're advertising the right place.
Right. 1904.
So.
But the church, yeah, we lit up with the lights too. So, it's going to depend on the camera, more or less, on how well it lights up. It'll still light up a lot. These work lights are amazing, but it's going to depend on your cameras too, like how big the sensor is and how much it'll open up and absorb the infrared.
Sounds like I got a cranky baby in the house.
Is that Ron?
No. It sounds like Porkchop's getting a diaper change.
Uh-oh.
Every time he gets a diaper change, still to this day, a year old, he still screams his head off like somebody's trying to kill him.
Me too.
Well, you should stop pooping your pants.
Well, when they stop making adult-sized diapers, I might. Oh, man. Over there? I don't either. I could just go on a rant. I don't know.
And we are sitting here, and I am talking with David as I try desperately to get Denise back in on the show. Apparently, when the baby screamed, her Skype went out. So we're just going to do that. David, go ahead, and you were talking about the spook lights that were showing up around military bases, and I was going to ask if you could expand on that, because the ones at Thomas Divide are ostensibly around hidden and secret military bases. So can you expand on that? We have Denise back, but I really would like to know your take on that.
At all?
Where's Denise?
There's Denise.
I have no clue what happened there. But go ahead, David, answer the question.
Yeah.
I didn't even touch anything.
I over at the Brown Mountains, and this is kind of close. I mean, it's North Carolina, but it's right there at the border. Yeah. The Brown Mountains was that area is actually known as the highway that runs through there, I think, is 181. And they call it Area 181 because there's a lot of military activity that happened around the Brown Mountains. And some people even say NASA had a lot of activity out there. And there's still military training routes for the Air Force that run through there. So, there's, I think kind of out of public eye, there is probably some military activity that's happening there, if they're not studying this phenomenon, because with the Joplin spook lights, the phenomenon was actually investigated by the Army Corps of Engineers, and they couldn't come up with a a plausible explanation for why people were seeing the lights. They actually ended up chalking it up as lights of an unknown origin. The Brown Mountain Lights, the U.S. Geological Survey had been out there and done 2 weeks of research, and basically all they did was they compiled a list of things that could create a light or a glow. And then following that up, there was a guy who just come up behind him and pretty much shredded all those explanations. So I think there's still a lot of mystery behind these lights that is going to attract government uh, attention. Because when there's something that the government doesn't know the cause of or the source of, they're going to want to investigate it, and they're going to want to find out if they could use that for their advantage, whether it be making some kind of weaponry or some kind of defense. So I mean, I find it highly plausible that a lot of these lights are going to attract the government.
What? So, like I said, there's so many different things out there on the lights.
Did we lose you again? See your question, Kat. There, do you think the government attracts the lights? I don't think the government attracts the lights because a lot of these cases, the lights have been there for over 100 years. And the reason I keep bringing up the locations that I bring up is because I've done more extensive research on them than others. So, like, again with Joplin, that one has been cited as far back as the Trail of Tears. The Brown Mountain Lights had been the earliest recorded sightings was 1916, I believe it was. So, I mean, as far as the Joplin one goes, these were happening way before an established military was doing any kind of scientific research. So,
okay, well, Denise is having trouble with getting her sound out across Skype. I see her, so I know she's there. And while
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. And
like I said,
please.
It's weird. It's like I'm not touching anything. So apparently somebody does not want me asking you guys asking questions about spook lights tonight. Probably my ancestors that are actually the spook lights that were on the Trail of Tears saying, "Shut up, Denise, don't ask."
Or it's the government. It's the government. It's all Kat's fault for bringing the government into it.
Yes, suddenly the government wants to shut me up. I doubt that very much. But
Ron's back there saying, "Good luck."
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. Yeah. Ron goes, "Maybe it's your husband." So, but maybe it was the digital clock I was running on my computer because I've never had any problems before.
Possibly.
So I'm going to mark it up to that, and we'll just go from there. But it's just very strange. But the question I had now went completely out of my head until I started having technical problems. So, but
it's the ghost in the machine.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm going to have to go with not paranormal. Probably just Denise opened something that was probably drawing too much energy from the Wi-Fi, causing problems. So
Ron's got to stop looking at porn while you're doing your show.
Well, actually, he's over there moving papers around.
How'd you see?
So, with her third eye.
Third eye. But I will tell you, it's.
Love you, Ron.
Hear about it. When will Into the Light 2 be ready for people to see it?
Oh man, I was on this pace to I could have had it done at the end of the month, but some things came up and I had to do some work and get ready for this cold front that we had happened and some other things that came up. But so that put me off. So I just started working on it again last night after pretty much taking like 2 weeks off. So I'm gonna assume I'm gonna have it finished by the end of the year, and probably January to February, I'm gonna try to start setting up a tour with it and start showing it around.
All right. So are you gonna come to our area again for that?
Absolutely.
So you guys be looking forward to that. Probably Web City, since you've got such a good in there with their their theater.
The haunted Route 66 theater, by the way.
Yep, you guys got to follow that because that place is haunted as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It is one of the first places I've ever been pushed. So.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you.
By a spirit.
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say because I know you've been pushed before.
I don't know if you've ever talked to Angel K much, or
yes.
If you, okay. Well, Angel, like this, we shot that episode like 2 years ago, and this is about the time I was kicking around doing this the Paranormal Studies pilot, and we had just shot that episode. Haven't even edited, didn't put it out yet or anything. So nobody knew anything about the theater. So I was talking to Angel about, kind of told her what I was thinking about doing with Paranormal Studies, and I kind of wanted to test her about her ability to remote view and things of that nature. So I sent her a picture of the theater and had her do like a remote viewing on it, and she came up with one of the most amazing reads at the time that I'd ever heard, which was, she was saying that there was a man there. She pretty much identified the man, and said that this man doesn't like me. And I'm thinking, okay, that happens a lot. And she says, well, she asked me if anything followed me home, and I said no. She's like, well, it's weird because he keeps saying that since you're invading his space, he was going to invade yours. And this threw up a flag for me and I just kind of started laughing, and she was wondering why. Well, during the shooting of the episode, on the backstage area where I'd been pushed, this was our second investigation there, and I was sitting there, and this is the only time this has ever happened to me. I, for lack of a better term, was kind of channeling. I was getting extremely angry with everybody. I wasn't saying anything to anybody, but I was feeling extremely angry at everybody. And I kept thinking these thoughts, like, what the F are these guys doing here? They need to get the hell out of here. And like, it was just festering. But the funny thing was, I had a consciousness about it. And I knew it wasn't me. There was no reason why I would be angry. And so I sat there stewing in it for about 10 minutes. And, I just finally, I was like, started getting a headache, and I just stood up. I was like, all right, we're taking a break. And I just got up and left and went outside and took a walk down the block and kind of rid myself of it, and nobody had known about that. I didn't even have the episode out or finished editing, and she was able to pick up on something like that. So, that, shows that's how much, like the Route 66 theater, that's haunted. But that was actually where my relationship with Angel really started taking off, because she and I, we talk a lot. I have her do remote viewings and stuff like that whenever I'd go out on location, and she's amazing, by the way. If anybody ever wants a reading done by her, have a reading done by her. She's really good.
She was given away. Oh, we're at a break. So everybody, this is our last break. It's 2 minutes. Go get your drink and come back. You listen to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back with David Glidden. See you in a few.